The penultimate month of the regular season is here. Temperatures will cool down, playoff races will heat up, and we begin September in the Steel City as the Pittsburgh Riverhounds meet New York Red Bulls 2 for the fourth and final time this season. From Highmark Stadium with longtime Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Glad to have you with us on ESPN Plus this evening. What the standings look like at the end of the month, we don't know, but here they are on September 1. And Gary, you can see just how big of a game it is for Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
It certainly is. There's a chance they can finish top of this division above Tampa Bay and Miami FC. Conversely, they could finish behind those two, and then Battery are chasing them as well. So you want to get those home ground advantage in the playoffs, and that's why this match is massive for the Riverhounds.
And the Riverhounds have made the most of their meetings against Red Bulls this season, winning all three, outscoring New York 8-2. It's been a mismatch, and they need to go ahead and look to secure 3 more points today.
And this man's caused a lot of problems. Alex Dixon, goalkeeper, could have done better there perhaps, but they do have So, and he can score goals, that's for certain. And Pittsburgh have picked it out and said this will not be an easy match, but you got Cicerone as well. 5 goals in the last 2 matches. Who is going to stop that man?
5 straight wins in this all-time series for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They're 5-1-1 all-time at Highmark Stadium against the Red Bulls. But New York will counter with Jeremy Raffanello, who is in terrific form right now.
Oh, look at that goal there against Sac Republic. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. Turn, twist, and stick it in the top corner from 30 yards. Are you kidding me? 4 goals and 5 assists this season, and he does set up chances. That one down the line there for So, who scores, and he can provide those assists. My only concern is, can he do enough, or others must step to the plate? There, puts it back to So. Good finish once again from the big man up front, but it cannot all be down to Raffanello. The others have to chip in.
And they have to chip in defensively because Alex Dixon is on a tear right now. Number 7 with 7 goals, 7 assists, doing it to every team with both feet.
And that's the thing, Joe. It is both feet. That was a right foot shot. We've seen him bang them in with his left foot. So if you're a marker, where do you stand? You don't know if you should push him down the right side, the left side. Look at that with the left foot. Brilliant.
For the 4th and final time this season, it's Pittsburgh and New York as the Riverhounds look to bust out the brooms and complete the season sweep of the Red Bulls. Lineups and kick are next on ESPN Plus.
Before, you weren't able to walk very far.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I couldn't even get out of bed sometimes.
How are you walking now?
I'm walking 6 miles a day.
Awesome.
Getting control back is living proof. The AHN Neuroscience Institute.
Dixon still going and scoring!
With the Riverhounds Mini Flex Plan, you get 6 tickets and only pay for 5. Flex plans are 6 vouchers to use any way you want over the 2021 season. Use them all for one game or spread them out through the season. With 3 different plans starting at $90, you can choose anywhere in Highmark Stadium to cheer on the Hounds. Visit riverhounds.com/flexbooks or call 412-865-GOAL.
Wow. Wow.
The new $3 million payout from the PA Lottery. With prizes that big, heads will be turning. Keep on scratching.
Summer's over, but the Riverhounds look to stay hot at Highmark Stadium.
That's a rocket!
Loudoun United comes to town on Saturday, September 11th for a 7 p.m. showdown on the banks of the Mon. It's Heroes Night with special presentations by the United States military and local first responders. Come early and check out our new tailgate zone that's open 2 hours before kickoff through halftime. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL.
Teams taking the field at Highmark Stadium for the 4th and final time this season. Riverhounds Red Bulls do battle in the Atlantic Division. With Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. We take a look at the starting 11 for both squads, beginning with the visiting Red Bulls.
Yep, for Red Bulls, a couple of changes. Well, let's start with Pittsburgh Riverhounds there. A couple of changes for them as well from the team that won 3-2 at Hartford. Tom Judge coming in for Todd Wharton. Tommy Williamson up front for Louis Perez. So just 2 changes there as they rotate with this busy schedule.
And now for the Red Bulls, not too many changes for a very young team that John Wolyniec believes is finding its way heading into the second half of the season.
Yeah, 3 changes there from the team that lost 3-0 at Miami FC. Carl Ziggets comes in for Yearwood, Michael Knapp for Brummett, and Surgeon Goma up front for Matthias Jorgensen. Surgeon Goma, what is he, 16 years of age? So exciting, as you mentioned, some wonderful young talent on this Red Bulls 2 side, but are they going to be strong enough for the mighty Pittsburgh Riverhounds?
He's 16 years of age, and he might not even be the youngest player we see in the game today. That could be determined with a substitution in the second half that we have seen before with Curtis Afori, the 15-year-old for New York Red Bulls 2. Pittsburgh in their black, New York in the red, Adam Kilpatrick in the green. He'll get us going momentarily. It has been on and off rainy throughout the day in Pittsburgh. We hope the rain holds off the rest of the way. And we're about to be underway here at Highmark Stadium. The whistle from Kilpatrick, and the ball is rolling in Pittsburgh. Already a slip. It's going to be a slick surface today, Gary.
Yep, plenty of rain about, and the ball will move nicely, but it makes it more difficult for the players to keep their balance. But this is an exciting matchup of a young, super talented New York Red Bulls 2 side up against a really strong, powerful, and mature Pittsburgh Riverhounds who are looking to finish top of the division, of the division rather. And it's a big, big test for these youngsters. Are they up for it today against a powerful, physically dominant side? Only time will tell.
And it's not a test that Bob Lilly's squad is taking lightly. Looking back at the 3 meetings they've had this season, yes, we pointed out before that it's 8-2 in terms of the goal scoring in Pittsburgh's favor. But Bob Lilly pointed out they've had just about the same number of shots and chances, and New York looked equally dangerous, just a matter of the more veteran team being more efficient and clinical and scoring those chances than New York. But the chances were there, and they have to be careful.
Keeper coming out just to scoop that one up. Gets a kick for his trouble as well.
And that's to the point of having to be careful because of guys like that up top. Omar So explosive and will harass you the entire time he's out there.
I'm sure Danny Vitiello will handle that. There is visiting coach John Wolyniec, and what a good job he's done bringing through some wonderful talent there at Red Bulls 2. But they are struggling towards the foot of the table, and as mentioned, have lost in all 3 matches against Riverhounds this season. So they will want to turn it around. You don't want to go 0-4 for the season. No matter how young you are, you've still got your pride in your professional ability. And just to pick up your 1 point about shots on goal, here's an interesting stat. Average shots on goal per game for Riverhounds is just over 4. For Red Bulls is 4.68. They have more shots on goal throughout the whole season. So you're 100% correct. They have more shots on goals. What they don't have is as many good shots that result in goals.
Bob Lilly went as far as saying he thinks the likes of Red Bulls and even Loudoun United beneath the Red Bulls in the Atlantic Division are more unlucky than anything else this season. You go back and look, there's a lot of 1-goal games both of those teams have played in New York and Loudoun, and they just came up short, whether a bounce here, a call there. So Bob Lilly not by any means taking this team lightly, and part of the reason is they did lose to Loudoun this year. One of Loudoun's couple wins this season came against Pittsburgh. They're not taking anything for granted in this matchup against New York.
Yeah, I think that's a sensible thing to do, because a number of coaches have spoken to us, not just this season, but many seasons, and they say, when you come up against a 2 side, you just don't know what you're going to get on the day, because sometimes you can get youngsters who are absolutely brilliant playing out of their skin. You can also get youngsters who are overawed by the occasion. So, and then Goma's one of those, Surgeon Goma, 16 years of age. I mean, maybe we're looking at one of the future superstars of MLS. We don't know, but certainly there's every chance that teams like New York Red Bulls will produce a superstar every once in a while.
Early set piece for Pittsburgh on that side, commanded by Alex Dixon, who wanted it quickly from Canaro Forbes. But the league's leading assist man all time and the captain for the Riverhounds will slow things down. Forbes drives it in. And it's nodded away. John Wolyniec talked a bit about Serge Ngoma, the teenager. A ton of talent, a ton of pace. Felt he was creating opportunities the whole season up to this point through his first 12 games. And finally, in his 13th appearance, he broke through with the goal. And being a former MLS striker for the better part of a decade, John Wolyniec felt at Ngoma, all he needed was that one, and now more may follow.
It exactly ties to the point is you don't know what you're going to get if you're Pittsburgh Riverhounds, because young players can suddenly mature, suddenly find their feet and their form. And there's a couple of other players. We featured Jeremy Raffanello in the build-up. What a talent he is at 21 years of age, so keep an eye on him as well. And of course, Omar Sow up front. He's only 20. We're looking at him like he's an experienced veteran.
Well, Kyle Ziget's, he's the eldest statesman, and he's only in his mid-20s at 24 years old.
Another player who stood out, and words have been mentioned about him, Jake LaCava at 20 years.
Rivera pokes it across. Cicerone will keep it in. He's in terrific form. A hat trick followed by a brace. Michael Knapp clears. Now into space, making the run was Raffanello. Slowly getting to him. He's taken down hard by Shane Wheat.
He's taken a hard knock. Let's just hope he's going to be okay. Looked like there's nothing suspicious in it. Both players going for the ball. And again, this is what we mentioned about the much older guys up against the young men. It can sometimes be a mismatch. Let's have a look here. Oh, I didn't see too much there. Maybe Raffanello just more concerned about the tackle than anything else, but he is, as we mentioned, a wonderful talent. However, having said all of that, let's focus a little bit on Pittsburgh. Cicerone, seriously, second place in the USL top scorers with 13, and Alex Dixon. Those are two players in great form.
Edelman, good delivery towards the penalty mark, but Peters is there to head it away. Omar Sow. Back for Daniel Edelman. Ziget's into space. Finds Cortez. Inside. LaCava. And Vitiello is there. Early test for the keeper. Not a difficult one, but just shows that Red Bulls, they can find their footing if you let them.
Yeah, very much so, and it's proving the point again that they get more shots on target than the Riverhounds do. The point being, are they quality shots? Are they shots that's really going to work? Vitiello, so far, not really. I guess when it gets the other side, and we'll wait and see if Dixon or Cicerone get it on it, they will certainly test Luca Lewis.
Here is Cicerone. Now it's inside. Williamson stumbling down. Carlo Forbes was making the run inside, and unhappy with himself was Williamson getting the start tonight. Quickly the other way, and Ngoma comes through. Peters takes him down. Omar Sow was pleading the case.
Borderline decision. There was definitely a little shove. Was it enough for a penalty? You could hear Vitiello saying, away, away, away.
Up to Sow. And the flag goes up on Omar Sow. LaCava, Sow, and Ngoma, those three moving forward, looking lively early on. Another look here. You be the judge, Gary.
Nah, not enough there. Big Peters just stands across and uses his size and weight, but you know, you've got to be very careful. But you could hear Vitiello saying, away, 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 and these central defenders, the three of them at the back, were a little bit slow to respond. That could be what Bob Lilly's saying to them. They've set up, by the way, for those who are interested in these things, the setup was a 3-4-3, so three at the back for Riverhounds, Peters, Wheat, and Kilwine on the left, whereas New York Red Bulls is set up mostly as a 4-4-2 with Omar Sow and Serge Ngoma up front. So two sort of slightly different styles of formation.
Bob Lilly very happy with the win over Hartford this past week. Would have liked to have it be a nice 3-0, 4-1 or something like that, because he's at the point now where he wants to start getting some of his players, key players, a rest at the end of a long stretch here with 8 matches in a month. But he'll take the win for what it was, and that was a grinded-out, gritty victory, because he knows that down the stretch here, you're going to have to win games like that, especially getting into October and then the playoffs in November.
Yeah, not easy away at Hartford. They've been sitting in that sort of fourth position most of the season. They're beginning to drop down a little bit. They've dropped to fifth, but they were desperate for points.
Forbes back for Dixon. In towards Cicerone. Nodded down for Williamson.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Right in the face. That's going to get him, yeah, at least a yellow card. And let's hope whoever took it in the face is going to be okay. It always worries me, those overhead kicks, because as a defender, you're going in to head the ball, and you're going to get a full boot right in the face. And it's Daniel Edelman who's gone down. Let's have a look at it again. Ball comes up, gets headed back in. Cicerone with it. There goes the overhead kick right on the side of the face for Edelman. And that's always going to get you a yellow card.
That right leg of Edelman, too. The weight of Williamson falling on it. Both players still left on the ground. Williamson was issued a yellow.
Yeah, and I think that's right, because, you know, as a goalkeeper myself, I don't, you know, you kicking up in the air and hitting someone in the face, that's a very dangerous play. And of course, strikers always say, oh, I'm going for the ball, I'm going for the overhead kick, as if it exempts you from kicking someone in the face. He takes it well there, Tommy Williamson. He knows that that's the risk he took. The moment he goes to raise his foot, if he kicks anyone in the face, he's going to get at least a yellow. But as a defender or goalkeeper, it's not a nice position to be in. But credit Edelman, he took the knock, took it for the team, and let's just hope the young man is okay.
As ever, Bob Lilly using any break he has to coach up the players a little bit more, tweak some things that he saw maybe in the first 10 minutes. Was very happy with the way they started with that quick goal against Hartford, the penalty by Cicerone in the second minute, and how they navigated the ups and downs of that game as Edelman is on his feet and shaking it off. But a lot of ups and downs in that game for Pittsburgh against Hartford. They went up 1-0, then it was 1-1. They go behind 2-1, and this is after they missed a penalty and went up a man to go down a goal. A few minutes later, Dixon equalizes 2-2, and then 90+1, Cicerone gets the win. A very physically and mentally draining match, the 6th of 8 games they have in the stretch of a month. Very proud Bob Lilly was of the way his team navigated that one on the road in a very hostile Dillon Stadium to pick up the 3 points.
And a fantastic winning goal by Cicerone, by the way. Back to goal, edge of the box, he turned his defender and got a great strike on goal. And Alex Dixon, he won 2 penalties, although he took one of them and missed it, but let's just look on the positives. He won 2 penalties and scored a goal. Another hugely influential match for Dixon. Cicerone's got all the plaudits with 5 goals in the last 2 matches and being second in the USL behind Haji Barry in goals scored. But Alex Dixon, he has been massive for the Riverhounds this season.
Vitiello, massive as well in goal. The reigning Golden Glove winner in USL Championship. 18 games, 18 goals conceded this season with 4 clean sheets. Defensive play always the staple of a Bob Lilly coach team. 115 matches in all competitions under Bob Lilly for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and a goals against average of 0.89 in 115 games.
That's a fantastic performance over the years, and why I think Bob Lilly is a sort of permanent fixture in Pittsburgh is, why would you ever want to let someone like that go? He just produces the goods year in and year out, and once again his team is right near the top, possibly will finish as divisional winners, and then we'll see how it goes from there. And he lost players in the off-season. He lost Big Dos Santos up front, who I thought was a massive loss, and then brings in Cicerone. Look at the difference he's made.
Alex Dixon as well, of course, we talk about what he's done this season. He played previously for Bob Lilly in Rochester, had 6 goals in 46 matches. This season he's got 7 goals already, so he's already surpassed his goal total. And we asked Coach Lilly what the difference is between that Alex Dixon and this Alex Dixon, and it really just came down in the end to maturity. Back then he was a player who was still early in his career, coming off of being drafted by Houston Dynamo, where he was asked to be more possessive, orientated on the ball, and thinking about keeping the ball. As he's progressed through his career, he's been able to put his head down and just attack more and more. And as he's matured, the goals have come, and Bob Lilly was very excited to talk about the history of Alex Dixon.
Yeah, I mean, that's his strength. His strength is running at defenses, so that's what Bob Lilly has persuaded him to do, because see young Sergeant Goma there trying to get on the end of the ball, the 16-year-old. But Alex Dixon is now a seasoned pro at age 31. You know, it's no more about keeping possession. It's about using your skills to achieve whatever you can in the last few years you have of your career. And with his pace and his ability, and his shooting, by the way, what a striker of a ball. There he is. Then you've got to get the ball to him, and when he gets it, he's just got to go into goals and use that pace and that finishing ability.
After leaving Rochester, where he was with Bob Lilly, he went on to OKC, he went on to Hartford, and Bob told us that he keeps tabs on all of his former players, so he knew exactly the progress that Dixon was making and jumped at the idea of bringing him to Pittsburgh this year. It has certainly paid off. So has bringing in Cicerone, but the corner not earned that time. Thought he had done enough. Goal kick, quarter hour gone. Pittsburgh, nothing too threatening. New York, looking lively. You never know what you're going to get when you have a New York Red Bulls 2 side. So far through 15, it looks like the good squad. And I say that because in 6 of their last 8 matches, they've conceded in the first quarter hour.
Well, having conceded 44 goals, which I think is only second or third worst in the entire USL, then there's still plenty more minutes in which things can go wrong for them. And I think that's part of being a young side is you have spells where you switch off or you get tired, and whereas the senior pros tend to stick it out for 90 minutes. Good pressure from Red Bulls. Unfortunately, they fouled in the process. Look at those red shirts up front. You can see 5 of them in picture. In fact, you can 6 of them. And they're putting pressure, making it difficult for Pittsburgh to play out. What Bob Lilly did say to us when we chatted to him, he says, if you can play through that press, then you'll find lots of space after that, and that's when you can cause damage.
Judge pulls it back for Kilwine. Tom Judge making just his second start. His first start came against Charleston a few weeks back. He had to leave a quarter hour in due to head injury. Good to see him get another opportunity there tonight. Part of a trio of young players that are starting to work into the mix a little bit more for Pittsburgh, between Judge, Ezra Armstrong, and the teenager Wyatt Borso. See a couple of those other names as this game goes along, and Bob Lilly talked about how invaluable that experience is those players were able to get right now during this congested schedule, because you never know when you're going to need one of them to step up down the stretch of the season come October, come November.
Well, one thing he did say is he hasn't got the strength in depth of senior players that some clubs have. So if he wants to rotate, he has to bring on the likes of a Tom Judge and use him to give the others a bit of a break, and so, which is great for these players. These fringe players will get to play more often, and they'll have to perform because they know that they're replacing other players who can come back. And that's another thing. This time of the year, with what, 8 matches in a month, managers are having to rotate, having to rest, and having to play good players game in and game out. And I think for Russell Cicerone and Conrado Forbes and Alex Dixon, those are the 3 key players for Bob Lilly. Those players have been playing game after game after game, 90 minutes followed by 90 minutes, and not really getting a rest. So if Pittsburgh are up today by a couple of goals, I think those 3 will be pulled off with 15, 20 minutes to go.
Card coming out of the pocket again here of Kilpatrick. And Goma drew the contact, and the yellow card is brandished. Shane Wheat picks up the yellow.
Yeah, you can see he comes late and brings the young man down. Probably a good professional foul to take, because they were exposed at the back there for a moment, Riverhounds.
Wheat, one of the fixtures in that back line this season, 23rd appearance today. Griffin puts a strong challenge in, wins the ball. Williamson battling and commits the foul. Well shielded by Amir Tumble.
It's a very solid start by Red Bulls too. They've been on the front foot for most of it. They've been solid at the back. They're keeping good possession. They're doing an excellent high press. And Riverhounds are playing as expected. They're always defensively very, very tight and waiting for their chances to counter-attack.
Giveaway in the middle. And Goma Looking for Raffanello. It's cut off by Kilwine. John Wolenek joked that, of course, you don't ever want to be in a stretch where you've lost 6 matches in a row, but there are some positives to pull from this, especially being an MLS 2 side and dealing with the squad rotation, such a young team. As we mentioned, Ziggett's the oldest at 24. Plenty of positives as they've progressed through each game. They've gone up against the likes of Tampa Bay, Charlotte, Charleston, all 1-goal losses where bounce here, bounce there, call here, call there. So Wolenek is very proud of the progression they've made. But again, joke, you never want to be in a run of 6 straight losses. So they're hoping to come out of that today.
Yep, I hear what you say, because I think the one thing that really hurts those players is you start getting into the habit of losing. And that's the last thing you want to teach your players. So, you know, obviously John Wolenek's done a great job bringing the kids through. It's never, never easy. But he does want to break that losing run and teach players how to win, how to hold on to a win, how to defend a win with a few minutes left. Those are all professional things you need to learn. And clearly when you keep losing, you can't learn how to win or hold on to a lead. So important for the Red Bulls to turn it around. Whether they can do it today at Highmark Stadium, well, that's another story.
Michael Knapp puts it in the middle. Peters to Dixon. Anytime he gets the ball on that right flank, fans are waiting to see something happen with the form he's been in, but this time he's dispossessed. Up towards Ngoma. Red Bull certainly making So and Ngoma work with the balls over the top, looking for their young strikers early on. Forbes. Out to Dixon. Fizzes it across, still falling through. Alive for Forbes. Lays it off. Shot from Griffin is wide and high.
Oh, good moment there for the Riverhounds, and Griffin's got to try and keep that down and make the goalkeeper work. Tidy ball put into the box, and it caused Red Bulls all sorts of problems when it came across. But in the end, that shot from the edge of the box just doesn't make Luca Lewis work at all.
Peters finds an open Judge. Williamson tried to hold the run. Rather Cicerone. And Judge is fouled.
He's saying shoulder to shoulder, Raffanello, but the referee didn't quite see it like that. Feels that maybe he hit Judge more in the stomach or the chest, and that knocked him over. Either way, free kick is given. Now let's see what Riverhounds can do. They've got some big boys they can put in the middle there. Shane Wheat, Peters, Kilwine. You put a decent ball in for them, and you can cause a lot of problems.
Cicerone, the trigger man. 13 goals, 4 assists for him on the season. Driven in towards the top of the box. And it falls all the way through for a corner. Forbes got a flick to it, top of the 6.
I'm always surprised to see Cicerone taking free kicks when you want your best striker in the box and picking up the loose ball, but there was a little half chance there for Conrado Forbes just to flick it on. I think that's what he's trying to do. It doesn't make contact, and Shane Wheat's waiting for the ball to fall to his feet.
Forbes from the corner. Curls one in, center of the box. Peters was there.
Luca Lewis, the 20-year-old goalkeeper, but Maps just waiting for the ball to come to him, and Peters at 6 foot, what is he, 3, and nearly 6'4". You've got to go meet the ball there, and the keeper not able to clear it. Lucky that Peters didn't get a full head to it.
Edelman's clearance attempt sends it back to Williamson. Cicerone, nice move, end line, Cicerone all the way across. Forbes went to the goal line too soon. He holds the run a half second. It's an easy tap in, and to make matters worse, he's now offside.
Cicerone's feet there, absolutely brilliant. I think Bob Lilly's saying exactly what you're saying to Forbes. Just hold and wave. Have a look here. Goes to hit it, goes around. Absolutely brilliant. And then touch. Just can't quite find Forbes there in the middle. Wonderful bit of skill. And that's the difference. When Pittsburgh get into situations, they have the ability to do something really spectacular. New York Red Bulls, well, they do score a fair amount of goals, to be fair, but we've seen a lot of long-range shooting from them, not so much in the box.
Lewis hasn't had to make a stop yet. Sends it down the other way. Raffanello towards Ngoma. Here's Ngoma again, the 16-year-old lays it off for Raffanello. Rivera digs it out. Michael Knapp gives it away to Forbes. Seemed like it at least. Shoved off the ball. Cleared to safety by Judge. Dixon puts it through to Griffin. Space again for Judge. Gets it by his man Knapp. But a lot of red jerseys over there, not so many black ones. Back for Rivera. Forbes holding up the play. Goes down, no call. Play on for New York. Raffanello gives it right back. Cicerone doing the hard work, tracking back to win it.
Look at that pressure from the Red Bulls. They've got a number of red jerseys in that half of the pitch. Oh, working hard. Have a look again at the red shirts. They're everywhere, swarming all over Riverhounds.
It's that high pressure and the tenacity that Bob Lilly warned against for his squad, making sure they don't fall asleep at the wheel at any point going up against this Red Bull squad and the pressure they show.
I think there was a leading elbow coming in there from the Red Bulls defense. Maybe that's what Bob Lilly is also discussing.
Williamson.
Yeah.
Shows
Have
some
a
blood.
look at this here. There's a leading elbow. Have a look there at the elbow. Oh, no, it's actually the heads that collide. The elbow did come forward, but it wasn't up. It was a clash of heads.
So Williamson will have to get that patched up.
Yeah, there's blood. You can see in his hand there on the ground that it's cut the back of his head. So you're right. He will have to leave the pitch and be patched up and cleaned up. And Bob Lilly, as you mentioned, said it was going to be a tough match. So far, it's been physically tough. They haven't been able to push the younger New York Red Bulls two-side around at all. They've been under a high press that John Molinek has got working really well there at Red Bulls. But in a 90-minute match, you always fancy the more mature side to slowly start to force their strength and to take over for the last sort of 20, 30 minutes. We'll wait to see if it happens in this match or not.
Williamson is going to give the trainer a lot to do as he comes off here. A lot of cleanup work and patchwork needed. Hope he's all right to continue.
Yeah, nothing malicious, just two guys going for the ball, honest and fair in a collision of heads.
On September 11th, the Riverhounds ask you to join them for Heroes Night as they honor those who have committed their lives and careers to these efforts as the Hounds take on Loudoun United FC at Highmark Stadium. There will be a U.S. Air Force swearing ceremony at halftime. The U.S. Army will honor Colonel Christopher T. Griffith for his distinguished career, and our local Coast Guard station will join us as the game's color guard along with Pittsburgh EMS. Quickly taken on the drop ball. I don't think New York was ready for it. 9 times out of 10, you see a restart like that. It's just played back to one goal or the other. You hear John Wolenek asking, what is that?
Yeah.
You don't see that too often.
That's Alex Dixon thinking very, very quickly there.
There is an etiquette in getting the ball back into play there. You don't have to abide by it. It's not a rule per se, but 9 times out of 10, you're going back to a keeper one way or the other. Cicerone. Pittsburgh for the moment, still down a man. Flicked onto Judge, could not save it.
Good skills from Cicerone again. Unlucky that never came off, but Judge would have been away in acres of space. That's the thing about Cicerone, he's such a clever player, and obviously playing with great confidence. If you're sitting second in the entire USL in the goal scorers charts with 13, and you're full of confidence. But it's the last couple of games, 5 goals in the last 2 games. And if you add his goals to Williamson, that's 24 between the 3 of them up front for Riverhounds.
And Williamson is being waved on now. Quick work by the training staff to get him mummified in the forehead. Dixon sends it that way. All the way into the hands of Lewis.
Probably shouting together, which means we want all these players to press at the same time. It's a little bit too comfortable for Red Bulls. They made it very uncomfortable for the Riverhounds with their press, but so far the team in red have been able to move the ball down the pitch with relative ease.
Nodded back into the path of Ngoma. Collision there. Weak header back by Peters, put his goalkeeper in harm's way. Ngoma wise to it. Overzealous in the end.
Well, they're not happy. He's saying they got the ball first. How can it be a free kick to the goalkeeper? Let's have a look at it again and see exactly what happened. Bad header back, I agree with you. No, they didn't get the ball. The keeper got it first. Optical illusion, difficult to see in real time, but have a look there. Keeper's hands get there first, no doubt about that. Sergeant Ngoma just behind, and so it is a free kick to Vitiello.
We'll cut Wolenek some slack. Does not have the benefit of instant replay like we do.
Absolutely. No, and of course he's going to fight for his side no matter what, but agreed, it's impossible to see exactly there. And we didn't even know until we saw the replay. But that's also why managers have to remain calm afterwards, because they can't see as clearly as the ref can. And maybe, well, and Vitiello saying, hey, he raised his foot to me, that should be a yellow card. And that's also a fair argument. So you can see it from either manager's point of view.
To the action now. Cooler heads prevail. Peters, strong foot in, finds Williamson. Cut back to Forbes. Dixon making the run around the outside. Dixon chips it all the way across. Rivera, heavy challenge, top of the box. No call made. This game starting to take on a very edgy tone. Ziggets, Edelman, taken by Cicerone. Forbes to Dixon. Alex Dixon puts a strike across, corner coming for Pittsburgh.
Oh, good pressure now from Riverhounds then. Alex Dixon whipping that one into the box. Just looking for someone on the end of it, gets deflected for the corner. But you're right, it's getting a bit chippy, and the tackles are flying in. And I guess credit to New York Red Bulls, you're away from home, you're a much younger side, and you're standing up and being countered. But expect to get hit hard by the Riverhounds in return. So let's see how they cope with this set piece.
Second corner for Canardo Forbes. Chips it, top of the six, Peters! Pittsburgh, the opening goal.
That's a great header from Peters and a lovely free kick, lovely corner into the box. He's unmarked though. Who is marking him? He's one of the biggest players that Riverhounds have. Surely he's man-to-man marked. Ball comes in from the corner. He's got a comfortable header and he sticks that past Luca Lewis. Have a look at it again. Ball in from Canardo Forbes. There's nobody next to the big man. And he gets this straightforward header. There's a hand on his shoulder coming in from Carl Ziggers. I don't know if he was the man who'd been given the job to mark him. Either way, Jelani Peters gets up, heads into the back of the net, and they are 1-0 up, our Riverhounds.
First of the season for Peters. The league's all-time leading assist man goes from 44 to 45, and it's 1-0 Riverhounds. After the break there, when Vitiello was fouled in the box, seemed like Bob Lilly had some words with his team. In the immediate aftermath, you mentioned it, higher press from Pittsburgh, looking a bit crisper in the attack, and the goal not too long after that.
Yeah, and it comes by just switching off, and we spoke about that with New York Red Bulls, playing so well, but have little moments where they switch off and concede, and that is one of them. If your job is to mark Jelani Peters, someone has got to be on him. Maybe you don't win the header, but what you do is you give him enough of a shove to put him off balance. But when a player of his quality has effectively a free header from 6 yards, well, what chance has Luca Lewis got?
Heavy tackle by Knapp. Patrick immediately pulls out the yellow. That tally's starting to rise now. One for Knapp. Williamson and Wheat each have one. There were a couple of other tackles throughout the match so far, to be fair, that could have warranted yellows. We're only 34 minutes in.
Look, both teams are getting stuck in, and credit to them both for being brave and being strong. Yeah, it's a trailing foot. You're going to get a yellow card for that every single time. See that left foot? It's not the right foot so much, the left foot that came trailing through there to cause that problem for Michael Knapp. Now he's got to be careful, as have the other names that you mentioned, Wheat and Williamson, because any mistimed tackle now and you could be off the pitch.
Especially for Wheat and Knapp on their respective back lines. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select is the official ball supplier of USL Championship and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportamerica.com. That ball nearly managed to stay in as Rivera pressured. And Lewis will get it back into play.
Well, I guess the focus now is on John Wolinek's side to bounce back and get themselves in the game. And when we spoke to him, he said it is always tough facing the Riverhounds. They're a good defensive side that give away so little. And you mentioned those stats, less than a goal a game under Bob Lilly. So for them, they've got to break down this very, very tough defensive unit.
Vidiello tries to clear it to safety. The backspin keeps it in. And Knapp shields it out. Forbes to Peters, as it was a moment ago for the goal. Now Dixon looking to spring the attack. Picks out Rivera. Judge coming on the overlap. Poked ahead. Here's Judge. Earns a corner.
That's a lovely counter-attack from the Riverhounds. Absolutely brilliant. Played through the press, switch sides to the left. Rivera just waits for Judge, times it perfectly, Judge is away. Unfortunately, his cross gets blocked, but that's a great example of good counter-attacking football that Bob Lilly has set his side up to play. They're not that worried about having the possession. They're just worried about being able to transition quickly, and that they did spot on that occasion.
Last time, the other corner. Forbes to Peters to the net for the 1-0 lead. What do they do for the encore from the other side? Swung into the near post, flicked onto the back post. And Dixon tries the volley, but the whistle blew for a foul before then. Riverhounds have added premium suites for 2021, exclusive and private suites with premium menu options. Check out the balcony that overlooks all the action and majestic view of the Pittsburgh skyline. You can visit riverhounds.com or call the box office at 412-865-GOAL. And if you're Bob Lilly right now, maybe you sense things are turning in your team's favor after the goal and around there as well, and you want to get a couple more to maybe be able to rest some of those guys, but this one nearly trickles in for Red Bulls. As quickly as I'm saying that, the other way. Omar Sow earns a corner.
Yeah, it takes a little deflection and just sort of scoots wide of Vitiello. Have a look here. He's lining it up, waiting for the chance. Hits it, and there's the deflection, which sometimes can actually cause the goalkeeper more problems. But again, on the front foot, but just not able to create a really good opportunity as yet.
Here's a chance now for Red Bulls to start turning things back in their favor. Edelman. Driven in towards the penalty spot. There was a chance there for an open header by Tombol, it looked like, but he just missed it. Secondary ball in from Edelman. Got it down by Peters. Edelman again gets to it. LaCava. Bob Lilly, as I was starting to mention, would love nothing more than to be able to get his main trio, Cicerone, Forbes, Dixon, some rest ahead of the road trip to San Antonio this weekend that will cap off the 8 matches in a month stretch for the Riverhounds. From there on out, It's just weekend games, no more midweeks the rest of the season, barring any schedule changes. So they've navigated this portion of the schedule, and they've done so potentially to the tune of ending the night in first place. Granted, Tampa Bay would have 3 matches in hand, but Pittsburgh would be 3 points up.
Yeah, and it's a tough match away at San Antonio coming up. They just have to be careful. There's a match about 4 or 5 games ago when they were 2-0 up at home to Miami FC. Seemed to be cruising, ended up losing 3-2, and I'm sure Bob Lilly will be wanting to make 100% sure he's got these points in the bag before he brings his big 3 off. That would be the aim, but you know, this is such a talented Red Bull side, and their coach, John Molinek, saying that he thinks they can use their pace and ability to run against the Riverhounds backline. So that's where he sees them getting back in this game, that pace of Serge Ngoma up front and Omar Sow as well. If they can get ball, that's where he thinks they might get the goals against Pittsburgh.
And that Miami team started a run of their own after that comeback win against Pittsburgh. They're only 3 points back of Tampa Bay, though Tampa has a game in hand on Miami. And coming into the night, Miami also just 3 points back of Pittsburgh with a game in hand. They were supposed to play tonight against Hartford. That game postponed due to inclement weather. Long run for So. Vitiello thought about coming out, thought better of it. So turns the corner on Wheat. Omar So puts it in the middle, but to a black jersey. Rivera trying to get out of the corner, and he earns a goal kick.
Yeah, Wheat had to be very careful because he's on the yellow. As soon as Omar Sow got past him, Wheat couldn't touch him after that, and Omar Sow not being able to find a man in the middle. Then he puts his head in his hands on his head instead of looking for the ball. The ball came back to him, and he was still holding his head in his hands, and instead of concentrating on the game, maybe he could have jumped on that loose ball. But it's a lot more positive for all the New York Red Bulls 2 fans.
19th start of the season for Omar So with a team-high 6 goals. Had 9 goals in 19 appearances coming into this season in New York Red Bulls 2 kit.
It just shows you what a good striker is. He turned Shane Wheat there on the edge of the box. He's powerful, he's big and strong. He just didn't have enough bodies in the box, or he couldn't find them, one of the two. But having scored 6 goals this season, he knows where the back of the net is, Omar So.
JC Cortez will do it again. 2 of the East best clash to kick off a fall to remember when the USL on ESPN continues with perennial contenders Louisville City FC traveling to Dillon Stadium to meet Hartford Athletic and a potential playoff preview Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
See how deep Pittsburgh are with their defenders. They're in that final third of the pitch, denying you space, making it so difficult to get behind. Exactly the way that New York want to play, is to get behind, and they did in the first few minutes, to be fair. But now look at the black shirts. They're all in their own half, denying space. Very difficult to play through them.
Mentioned the stretch of games here for Pittsburgh, very congested portion of the schedule. It's going to be a challenge the rest of the way for the Red Bulls. So far, in each month of the season, they haven't played more than 5 games in a calendar month. They have 8 games scheduled for September, starting tonight for Red Bulls 2. Deep enough player pool for John Wolynek to pull from to make sure he keeps guys fresh. Pulling from the MLS side, the players signed here to the USL squad, and of course the very deep Red Bulls Academy.
Yeah, and one thing they're not afraid to do is to play youngsters and bring them through. So he won't be short of players, you know. And again, it's about blooding youngsters. So when you see like Curtis Ofori at 15 years of age on the bench, I mean, oh, imagine seeing him. Also, Austin Brummer, who I thought had a couple of really decent games the last few games. Only 17. Nicholas Rabiu, 17. Samuel Williams, 16. It's incredible how good this youth system is at Red Bulls.
And on the flip side of that, a veteran-laden squad of Pittsburgh right now taking it to the Red Bulls. The likes of Alex Dixon, Corrado Forbes, the goal scorer tonight, Jelani Peters. All veterans that are giving the youngsters some fits, but they're hanging in there, they're fighting. Physical game, another foul here goes against Judge. And another yellow card, it seems like, too.
Yeah, he was late on that, and you could hear the contact of the legs. So another player is going to have to tread carefully for at least one half of the match. Let's have a look at it again. Have a look at Judge here, and he's late. And there's not much contact, to be fair, on Kyle Ziget's, but sometimes even a little contact can be painful.
Ziget's looking for So. Shielded well on the back end by Kilwine. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source of soccer radio, featuring Ray Hudson, Tony Meola, Rodney Marsh, and USL All Access with Mike Watts and Devin Kerr every Tuesday night at 7 Eastern. You can also hear live action from the USL, MLS Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Just 4 minutes of added time here in half number one.
I'm assuming most of that is for Tommy Williamson's head wound, the blood bin where he had to go off the park. It's just talking about that Ray Hudson and Tony Meola, all wonderful to listen to on Sirius XM. And don't forget Rodney Marsh. What a great player he was back in England in the day.
You did a thing or two in England.
Yeah, a little bit here and there. Well, this is a good situation for the Riverhounds to be in. 1-0 up at home. They've pretty much contained the very quick and pacey Red Bulls attack. I just wonder how Tommy Williamson's going to go second half with that head wound, and whether they might think of getting him off at some stage and trying to avoid any more damage.
Luis Perez would be the likely switch if that were the case. One of the only changes in the starting 11 versus last game for Pittsburgh was Williamson in, Perez out. The other being Griffin in for Judge in for Wharton in the midfield.
Yeah, and they can bring on those fresh legs. Second half of Wharton, Velarde, Armstrong, Jordan Dover back after injury. So expect to see a lot of changes and fresh legs brought on by Bob Lilly.
It'll be very interesting to see how Bob Lilly toes that line, though, between securing these 3 points and getting some of the players some much-deserved rest with the last stretch of games they've had. He joked that in all the years he's had Corrado Forbes, whether here or Rochester, don't think he's ever started him to play this long, 3 games in a row. And here he is again now for a 4th game, and might be called into action for a 5th game on Saturday. To give you a sense of how tough this stretch has been for Pittsburgh, but they've navigated it really well. Just the 2 losses back-to-back, the collapse against Miami, the 1-0 loss against Charlotte on the road to follow that up. Overall, though, 7 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses since the beginning of July for Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Edelman and Goma didn't feel the pressure from behind by Forbes. Rivera. Dixon looks over the shoulder and finds it. In the immediate aftermath of Pittsburgh's goal, Riverhounds look like they might be finding their footing and get some more, but Red Bulls settled back in after that.
Yeah, they've done really well. I mean, but for the poor marking for the goal, as we watch this ball cleared, but for the poor marking at the goal, it's been Vitiello has been far busier, having to come out on the edge of his box and read the ball, and they've been under a lot more pressure. But that one clinical moment, and that's what we spoke about early on. Pittsburgh Riverhounds are a clinical side. They don't shoot as much on target as Red Bulls, but they score way more often, and they concede a lot less because they're more organized at the back. That was just poor marking to leave Jelani Peters at 6'3", virtually unmarked from a corner. You just can't do that, and they've paid the price. Just one moment, one lapse of concentration.
And to that point, conversion rate. Pittsburgh 19%. They're in 4th place in the league in conversion rate. Red Bulls in 27th at 12%. Another cut here to a Pittsburgh player. This time it's Judge from the nose. Training staff busy tonight. First with Williamson, now with Judge. And for Judge, bad flashback here possibly as well. His first career start was against Charleston. He had to leave that match after about a quarter of an hour due to a head injury. And as it was earlier, just a clash of the heads, innocent play.
Yeah, to be fair, Judge has leaned right over and followed through. Now, it's super brave of him and super committed. But in the end, it's not the opponent who's caused the problem. It's his overcommitment to the cause and got himself a bit of a smashed nose. So whether that's broken, I'm not sure. But either way, it's another blood bin and another situation for Bob Liddy to weigh up. Can he afford to have Judge hit again in the second half? Does he replace him? It's a physical game, soccer, and you do get a lot of these knocks. And when you get games like, 2, 3 a week, the injuries start to line up. Of course, no Dikwa up front for Riverhounds. They miss him. What a striker he is, out with injury at the moment.
Been nearly a month that they've missed him. And there is the halftime whistle. Adam Kilpatrick, a physical half. A half that saw both teams enjoy spells of play, but it's Pittsburgh who get the goal, courtesy of maybe an unlikely source as well. With his first of the season, Jelani Peters, the header off the corner.
Yep, solid header, and they do have that lead, but they do have a couple of injured as we're looking at Judge holding his nose with the blood pouring out. And you've got Tommy Williamson with a bandage around his head. So the medics are going to be busy in that Riverhounds locker room at halftime, and I guess for John Wolinek, he'll be busy trying to figure out how his very talented young side can break down Riverhounds in the second half and at least get back on level terms.
Red Bulls attempting to avoid the season sweep at the hands of the Riverhounds, who are currently outscoring New York 9-2 in the season series. 45 minutes to go for the Riverhounds to secure that season sweep and to end the night in first place in the Atlantic Division. More to come here on ESPN+.
Summer's over, but the Riverhounds look to stay hot at Highmark Stadium.
That's a rocket!
Loudon United comes to town on Saturday, September 11th for a 7 p.m. showdown on the banks of the Mon. It's Heroes Night with special presentations by the United States military and local first responders. Come early and check out our new tailgate zone that's open 2 hours before kickoff through halftime. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL.
Hey, I'm Mike Rowe, here today to encourage you to connect with 811 before you dig.
And I'm Mike Rowe, and I'm here because I love to dig in the dirt.
It's true. He's also here because he's very small and not that bright. Here, for instance, we can see Mike Rowe doing what he loves to do. And here we can see the consequences of not doing what he should have done. Dude, why didn't you call 811?
I forgot the number.
See? Not that bright.
My name is Shay, and I have a condition that I take a medication that's made out of human plasma.
Hi, Shay. Welcome to BioLife. We take the generous gift of these donors in order to make these therapies. We make it safe, fast, and easy.
You know, you're compensated for your time while you're coming in and donating.
I just really wanted to thank you for your donation because y'all do change lives. Y'all really do. And I'm thankful for that.
At the break between Pittsburgh and Red Bulls as we begin the month of September, let's take a look back at this past weekend, the final weekend of August, with some highlights from a couple of matches that happened out west and up in the mountains, starting with Oakland against Tacoma. Early on, Oakland gets the goal off a short piece to the corner.
Yeah, Kai Green at the far post there. Not sure what the keeper was doing, falling backwards into the goal as it scored, but from a tight angle, Kai Green gets the opening goal.
Everything going Oakland's way in that first half until the very end, where Tom Brewitt stepped in off the corner.
Oh, this is a great header, mind you. He climbs so high, gets above absolutely everybody, and then guides it into the far corner, giving the keeper no chance.
Second half, though, Oakland picked up right where they left off in the first before conceding. The draw penalty here in the 54th. Ultimately, Vol Fall would surprisingly miss it to the point that you thought maybe the game would start turning back in Tacoma's favor. Not to be the case. Just 3 minutes later, Oakland goes ahead anyway.
Yeah, look, good pressure here. Good turnover ball. Gets knocked into space. Look at the turn here. Turns and finishes. That is brilliant by Mbumba. Absolutely stunning forward play.
And you saw Hernandez sparking that with the takeaway in the midfield. You're not seeing the same replay over right here in a moment. He just did it again. He took it away in the midfield and sparked another goal for the Roots.
He's been a star player for them in recent weeks, and you're right. He starts everything happening. This a ball to the far post. Bakila says, thank you very much. I will make this the third one. Who's going to stop Oakland at the moment? Phoenix couldn't. Who's left?
Well, hopefully, looking around the division, Pittsburgh is saying it's not Tampa Bay because they meet on Friday, but 6 unbeaten right now for the Oakland Roots with 3 straight wins. Then we go up to Colorado Springs. Austin stunning the home crowd with an early goal to go up 1-0.
They did. Omar Gordon passing it to Baez here, and he's under all sorts of pressure, Baez, and he still gets a great effort on goals. Abe Rodriguez with a fingertip onto the post, but it still goes in, and the visitors 1-0 up.
That was the only celebrating Austin had in this game, because from that point on, everything went Colorado's way, including a call here, Gary, that you weren't too fond of, but a penalty nonetheless.
Yeah, Andre Lewis hitting the defender who couldn't get his arm out the way. It was tucked into his body, but up steps, who else? Haji Barry for his 20th in 20 games. Sends Panico the wrong way, and this one from a corner not cleared by the Austin Bolt defense, and Hodge jumps on it, and the home side are ahead.
At that point, Colorado Springs is just doing what they do best, scoring goals. It wouldn't be a highlight without a Haji Berry goal. It wouldn't be a highlight either without a Mishi Galena goal. We'll get there in a second, but they would make it 3-1 before the half as well.
Yeah, Thomas Anung from a very tight angle here. Thought the keeper had it covered there, Panico, but he just squeezes it Anung between the keeper and the post. 3-1 to the home side, and here's your big moment. Take it away.
It's just sublime. I don't want to say anything. I just want you to sit there and take in this goal yourself at home because, wow, the touch on that.
Brilliant. To get it up and over the keeper from there, Joe, that's world class.
All around incredible. So is this. 10s all around. The Olympics were a couple of weeks ago. He gets his routine in now. He could do the flips. You don't flip anywhere. You come right back here for half number 2 in just a moment.
First-generation student here at Bellevue University. I feel like if I were to have gone to a different university, my experience would have been a lot more stressful and overwhelming, because I feel like I wouldn't have gotten that personal experience that Bellevue University has to offer.
City double their money, and how sweet the sound at Lynn Family Stadium.
I did get an interesting text from someone in the Phoenix organization talking about how big and physical that game was, and maybe they didn't necessarily know it was going to be just like that. I think they got a good taste. By the way, in case you're wondering, Forrest Lasso is competing for the Summer Olympics in gymnastics. Just wanted you to know.
So is Lee Cohen. He was part of that routine.
Bring it to me.
Forrest Lasso, the defender of the year, leaping over the ad boards and pirouetting his way toward the dugout.
Have you heard about the new Tailgate Zone at Highmark Stadium? The Tailgate Zone is located just outside of the Highmark Stadium West Gate for all remaining 2021 home matches starting 2 hours before kickoff. You can hang out pregame through halftime of Hounds home games and enjoy local brews and drinks, local food trucks, and music as part of the match day festivities. Visit riverhounds.com for more information or call 412-865-GOAL.
Back at arguably the most picturesque venue in USL Championship. We were hoping for some better weather today, but good views nonetheless across the river here in the Steel City. And with that, we'll take a look around USL Championship with some news and notes. Beginning with the record watch, we showed you the highlight a moment ago of Haji Berry scoring the penalty. 20 games, 20 goals. He's 6 away from the single-season record. He's got 12 games to do it.
He should be able to do it. The form at his on Cam Lancaster with that record of 25 goals in one season. And he's just scoring goals for fun at the moment, Haji Berry. And I think he deserves it. If you got 20 and 20, you deserve to go on to set some records.
And you could see Cam Lancaster's current campaign with Louisville continue on ESPN September 7th at 7 Eastern on ESPN2 and your Clear Audio Player of the Week. Evan Loro, big week for the goalkeeper. 2 shutouts, 8 saves. Gary, you love to see a goalkeeper as the Player of the Week, I'm sure.
And it's not often you do see a goalkeeper as Player of the Week. So well done, Evan, for the keepers. And if you look at that team, there's a whole bunch of players who've done well. Tristan Hodge, we saw him scoring the second for the switchbacks, and other defenders doing a great job. A double for Molotto. Lebo Molotto there, double for Marlon. Russell Cicerone, 5 goals in the last 2 games, a hat-trick and a pair. I mean, what a performance by Cicerone.
My weekly plea to have next year an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference team of the week, because there's too many players to choose from on a weekly basis. Look at this, we got over 50% of it, but just from Tampa Bay and Tulsa, 3 each on those teams. So we gotta get some more love spread around East and West next year for team of the week. Let's hope. Let's look at the upcoming schedule as these players try to make the Week 20 team of the week. More action tonight elsewhere around the league. The late game, LA Galaxy, Sac Republic. 1 off on a Thursday, Tacoma and Vegas, and then a big slate on Friday, and a big slate for Pittsburgh with Louisville and Tampa Bay in action, as well as El Paso later on. All teams that they're maybe chasing for top of the league and home field advantage.
Yeah, and a tough game for Louisville City up against Tulsa. They've met 3 times this season, 2 wins to Lou City, 1 to Tulsa. It's always a tough battle. And I'm looking forward to Oakland Roots. The way they've been playing, this is a massive test. Away at Tampa Bay, but can you imagine if they win that? They'd suddenly become favorites to win the entire competition.
Pittsburgh Riverhounds, big Oakland Roots fans this week as Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh are neck and neck in the Atlantic Division. We're back with the second 45 of Pittsburgh and Red Bulls in a moment with highlights and kick after the break.
Wow.
Wow. The new $3 million payout from the PA lottery. With prizes that big, heads will be turning. Keep on scratching.
Summer's over, but the Riverhounds look to stay hot at Highmark Stadium.
That's a rocket!
Loudoun United comes to town on Saturday, September 11th for a 7 p.m. showdown on the banks of the Mon. It's Heroes Night with special presentations by the United States military and local first responders. Come early and check out our new tailgate zone that's open 2 hours before kickoff through halftime. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL.
Before, you weren't able to walk very far.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I couldn't even get out of bed sometimes.
How are you walking now?
I'm walking 6 miles a day.
Awesome.
Getting control back is living proof. the AHN Neuroscience Institute.
Have you heard about the new Tailgate Zone at Highmark Stadium? The Tailgate Zone is located just outside of the Highmark Stadium West Gate for all remaining 2021 home matches starting 2 hours before kickoff. You can hang out pregame through halftime of Hounds home games and enjoy local brews and drinks, local food trucks, and music as part of the match day festivities. Visit riverhounds.com for more information or call 412-865-GOAL.
Players making their way back out onto the field as the sun begins to set behind the clouds here in Pittsburgh. With Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malvo. We take a look at the highlights from half number 1 that put Pittsburgh up 1-0.
That was a good start by the Red Bulls. They were on the front foot for most of it, and here they are on the attack. Lots of pace up front, nice, neat passing going on, stretching from side to side. And 1 or 2 moments where the keeper had to come up here with a comfortable save, you've got to say. Nothing to worry too much there from Jake LaCava, but at least they showed their intentions, the visitors.
And that's the thing for Vitiello. Has to deal with a lot of shots for New York, but maybe not a lot of quality. This one, though, quality on the opportunity from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, quality finish from Jelani Peters and a quality cross from Forbes as well, but very poor defending. That's where the quality didn't exist, because you've got to have somebody on his shoulder, someone at least putting a little bit of a shove and a push onto Jelani Peters. Nothing happened, so it's comfortable header past Luca Lewis.
After that, Pittsburgh started to settle in, but New York responded. You thought they might fade. All of a sudden, they started playing like they were early on and came up with another opportunity.
Yeah, Omar Sow again, but from outside the box, takes a little bit of a deflection. Vitiello's got that one particularly covered. So for all their sort of skill and pace and ability, nothing really that troubled Vitiello enough, and you can see that just the one shot on target for both sides, but the one on target for Pittsburgh ends up in the back of the net, and that's the difference between the two teams.
The 4th place team in the league in terms of conversion rate for Pittsburgh, and near the bottom for New York Red Bulls. That's the tale right now after half number 1, and we're ready to begin half number 2 with 1 sub to get to you for Pittsburgh. Towards the end of the half, Tom Judge had the knock on his nose. He is subbed out. Ezra Armstrong enters the match in his stead. And you see there, Tommy Williamson, he changed up his bandaging at the break as well. Opted for the black instead of the yellow to make sure that no more red seeps through after the cut he sustained earlier in the first half.
Well, that's a brave move to make when you've already split your head open, you know, to then continue to play knowing you can get another bump on it, or maybe just, you know, head the ball awkwardly and open up the wound. It shows the commitment from Tommy Williamson. Have a look, there he is. You're right. Matching colors now that suits the outfit he's wearing.
The whistle from Adam Kilpatrick. We're underway in half number 2. Red Bulls in the red from right to left, and Pittsburgh defending the lead and defending left to right. At the moment, Pittsburgh first place in the Atlantic. If you look at the live table, it'd be 3 points ahead of Tampa Bay, though Tampa Bay would have 3 matches in hand. The next one they play Friday night at home against the red-hot Oakland Roots. Cross-country match there. Getting to the point of the season, though, where we're not going to see too many more of those interconference cross-divisional games. Just divisional games mainly down the stretch. Pittsburgh specifically here, after playing San Antonio on the weekend, only division games beyond that. So the rivalries, the intensity, really going to pick up in October.
I mean, you have to believe that for New York Red Bulls, there isn't an opportunity to get to the playoffs. But certainly they're playing for pride, they're playing for growth. For Pittsburgh, it's about finishing top and getting as many home games as possible. And you were just talking about shots on goal and how Red Bulls have more shots on goal, and yet Pittsburgh get more goals because their shots count. They're much more effective. In their recent loss at Miami FC, Red Bulls had 6 shots to Miami's 7. You would think it was a close game. They got beat 3-0.
Yep.
In their match at home to Charlotte, they had 5 shots to Charlotte's 3 and lost 2-3. So they're getting the shots, they're just not getting useful enough shots, effective enough shots, and that's where they have to improve.
And it's the same thing in the 3 previous matches this season against Pittsburgh for New York. So far this season, the 3 prior times, Pittsburgh won 3-0, 2-1, 3-1. The shots on target in those matches, 4-4, 5-4 in New York's favor, 5-4 in Pittsburgh's favor. So it's all right there, but then it doesn't compute when you have 8-2 in Pittsburgh's favor in terms of the output with the goals.
Yeah, it's that ability to finish, and that's what sort of knowledge, skill, professionalism is all about. Getting goal scorers is the hardest thing in soccer. And Alex Dixon, Russell Cicerone, these are quality, mature players. What John Wolinek is doing is bringing young players through and trying to get them to be those professional players. But there's a long way to go yet for the likes of Omar Sow, and especially for a 16-year-old Serge Ngoma. They'll get there eventually, you hope, because they're wonderful talents, but right now, very difficult for them.
And now a set piece on the way as well for Red Bulls. Raffanello taken down hard by Ezra Armstrong, his first real involvement since subbing in at the half. And Armstrong over on that left side. Danny Rivera on the right side.
It's referee Adam Kilpatrick, who I think has called the game very well. We were just discussing it at halftime. Got all the decisions correct, and he doesn't have the benefit of slow motion like we do, so he calls it immediately and in real time, and he's managed this game extremely well. It's been very chippy, 4 yellow cards, but on each occasion he stepped in and calmed everything down.
Don't ask the coaches what they think. They were heated a couple of times in the first half, unhappy with the calls, but he's done a good job with this game and maintaining the peace here between Wheat and So. Edelman set to put it into play. Swung in towards Vitiello, who gets a strong punch to it.
That's a good punch from the goalkeeper. That was a dangerous ball into play, and he cleared his lines.
Lewis just clears with Dixon barreling down.
That's the value of a goalkeeper like that, Danny Vitiello. Brave, strong. When everyone was struggling to get the ball, he managed to get a fist to it, and he turned defense into very quick counter-attack there. And they were able to put Red Bulls under pressure and get possession ball here on the halfway line.
Cicerone into space for Armstrong. Griffin drives it all the way across, and too far for Dixon.
The idea was good, trying to switch play from one side to another, stretch the Red Bulls defense. But unfortunately, the ball just slightly off target. High press coming here from the Riverhounds. Look at the black shirts, trying to see if they can force any error from Red Bulls.
You know they would love to jump on New York early here in this second half. Not give them any hope and give them a chance to rest the legs later on in this half if the opportunity arises. And Ezra Armstrong, a good close there, wins it for Pittsburgh. Armstrong, one of those 3 players that has started to feature more heavily for Pittsburgh, along with Wyatt Borso and Tom Judge. Judge, of course, subbed out for Armstrong after the head injury. So another chance here with 45 minutes for Armstrong to gain some valuable experience. One of the other things noted by Bob Lilly, it's not just a game experience that these young players are getting, Armstrong, Judge, and Borso. Because of the tired legs due to this congested schedule, he's giving the main guys some more time off during practice, and it's giving these guys more practice minutes as well.
It's very important to manage your older players, especially someone like Conrado Forbes at 33 years of age. You know, if you overplay them, you can get stress injuries from playing too much. You know, muscle tears or strains, and you need Conrado Forbes when it comes to playoffs. So it's a balancing act. If you're a manager, you don't want to get to the playoffs, finish top, but then, you know, lose a couple of key players. So maybe you risk finishing second or third, but make sure that all your top players are available. Not easy, but the managers have to make those decisions.
Here is Forbes. Dixon centers it. And cleared away. Kava got to it. Made sure there was no second ball in for Pittsburgh.
Left shoulder, Jakey. Left shoulder, Jakey. Left shoulder.
Peters wins it back for Pittsburgh. We had an interesting conversation with Coach Lilly about his squad rotation. When you have a stretch of 3 games in a week, sometimes coaches will say, you know what, let's win game 1, let's win game 3, let's rest everybody game 2. Probably doesn't do that. He'll rotate a couple at a time if the opportunity is there to make sure that he has as strong of a squad as possible, not willing to punt on any individual game.
It sort of takes it game by game, and I understand what he's thinking. I think you need a strong team to play today because you have a chance against the youngish New York Red Bulls. You're at home. If you pick up 3 points, then you worry about San Antonio. And maybe he'll give a couple of his key players a rest because, you know, the trip to San Antonio is tiring. So he might say to his top 3, look, if, you know, assuming they win this game, Riverhounds, he might say to the likes of Cicerone, Dixon, and Canado Forbes, have a weekend at home, don't travel. I'm going to take some of the fringe players, and if we can, you know, if we can steal a point at San Antonio or 3, fantastic. If we don't, you know, we've won the last couple of games, we're all good. So he's more pragmatic. He doesn't have a system. I think he plays it game by game, and some people would play a weaker team against Red Bulls. I think you play the stronger team to get the points in the bag if you can, and then you worry about the next game.
Take the sure, I don't want to say sure 3 points. Nothing's a sure 3 points, but the surer 3 points at home against a team that's in 7th and against a team on the road in San Antonio.
Williamson on a yellow already. Raised his foot there, and I think that's what the referee's saying to him. I'm not going to send you off and give you a second yellow, but you did raise your foot, and you're now on final warning. Have a look at it again. Michael Knapp was the one who gets kicked. They're both going for the ball, and I don't think there's anything nasty in it at all there from Williamson. But whenever you're on a yellow card, you have to tread so carefully.
And I think Williamson there pleading his case about that as well, demonstrating to Kilpatrick. And to be fair, Williamson's yellow card all the way back at the beginning of the first half was similar. That was the play where he went for the overhead kick and he caught the defender in the face. Again, a no-no, but innocent, nothing malicious. So the yellow card he got, going for the ball. This one, the talking to, going for the ball. So it's 2 gray area calls, and you know what, this time he gets the benefit of the doubt. Maybe 1 + 1 = 2 for the yellow card in the end. So
for me, the yellow card is definite when you kick someone in the head, which is what he got it for. That one there, they were both going for the ball, hits the stomach. I'm sure John Wolyniec feels differently, as any coach would. You're going to argue the case for your team, and he does it with a lot of passion. I think so far the ref is pretty much spot on with every decision. Now we wait to see if it gets a bit more chippy towards the end, because there's been so much of hard tackles, clashing heads so far in this game.
Lewis waited till the absolute last second to get rid of that one. Ball hasn't touched the ground since then.
All the way back, Eddie, all the way back.
Forbes takes the throw quickly. And they earn a corner. I was waiting for the official to maybe signal Red Bull's way there, but Forbes, the veteran, took the throw before either official could say anything about it. Neither referee pointed any direction. They just kind of let it happen. And John Wolyniec, you could see on the sideline, arms raised. He was wondering what went on there.
Experience. Canado Forbes has been around the block just a few times, Jamaican international.
It was off a corner that they scored in the first half. Forbes to Jelani Peters. Here they are again from the corner. Forbes strikes it in. Knotted down into the ground by So. Put back across to Forbes by Rivera. Cuts it underneath. Past Castillo. And knocked out again for another corner.
Is that a nutmeg there on Omar So? He looks up to the heavens. I'd like to see that one again with some great skills out wide there, and Bob Liddy just bemoaning the fact that the ball just didn't get into the middle and find a striker.
Here is Forbes again. Can't give that man too many opportunities from the corner. A well-weighted ball in, dangerous across. Cicerone misses it. Peters is there to put a foot in. And this time it's a goal kick.
Luca Lewis coming for the ball and not getting on the end of it. And I don't know if it was his own defenders in the way or the strikers, but as a goalkeeper, once you leave your line, you've got to get on the end of the ball. Luca Lewis a little bit lucky to get away with that one.
Lava plays it back. Tomble out for Knapp. Just past Ngoma, the 16-year-old, who flashed early a couple of times. The game hasn't found him since the first 10 minutes, though.
It hasn't, and I expect to see Matthias Jorgensen on at some stage. He and So have been up front in the previous 2 matches, and together they're quite formidable. They do score a bunch of goals, and I think certainly we've seen some lovely talent from Serge Ngoma at 16 years of age, but you would think that he'd need to come off fairly soon and rest and get somebody else on.
Luther Archimed as well, an option. It seems, though, like the next substitution will come again from Pittsburgh. They've already made 1, with Ezra Armstrong coming in for Tom Judge. Todd Wharton ditched the warm-up top, now just has a penny on for Pittsburgh. Also a sub preparing on the Red Bulls bench. Archimed, we're being told, is set to check in for Michael Knapp. Here comes that Red Bulls change at least. So we'll look at Luther Archimed making his 3rd appearance of the season. Somebody who's been with Red Bulls 2 all season long, but has only appeared twice. He had visa issues early in the season after he was drafted. And then from there, he went on to the Gold Cup with Guadalupe, picked up a knock there, finally got back to full health recently. Now appearing for a 3rd time. They have high hopes for him down the second half of the season here down the stretch.
Yeah, started his career at Sochaux in France, so he's got some European sort of history and background there. So interested to see just how good a player he is. As you mentioned, an international with 4 caps for Guadeloupe, so that in itself says a lot about him.
Successful career at Syracuse collegiately. Went on to be the number 13 overall pick in the most recent draft this past April. But again, the visa issues and then picking up that knock at the Gold Cup have precluded him from playing all but 2 matches so far for the Red Bulls. Bob Lilly gets both of the walking woundeds out now for Pittsburgh. Judge came off at the half, and now Tommy Williamson out with Todd Wharton in.
Yeah, not surprised, but you've got a head injury. It's so hard. It's difficult to put your head in there and take those risks. And as a manager, you're concerned for the player that they've already got the injury. You don't want to be responsible for making it worse. So it just shows you the bravery of Tommy Williamson, that he wanted to keep on playing, but I think in the end a sensible decision to get him off.
And besides that, the yellow card and a warning after that as well.
Yes. In fact, you know what? That's actually even more of a reason to get him off. You're 100% right. He was on a final warning.
On September 11th, the Riverhounds ask you to join them for Heroes Night as they honor those who have committed their lives and careers to these efforts as the Hounds take Loudoun United FC on at Highmark Stadium. There will be a U.S. Air Force swear-in ceremony at the half. U.S. Army will honor Colonel Christopher T. Griffith for his distinguished career, and the local Coast Guard station will join for the color guard along with Pittsburgh EMS prior to the match.
And we're just talking about those head wounds. An interesting stat at halftime I picked up was that New York Red Bulls actually won more aerial duels than Pittsburgh, 14-12. So these younger players really were committed, getting their head in where it counts, taking the knocks. It's very impressive. You always think of young players trying to avoid that, but these guys have got stuck in here today.
In one. Referee, the 16 again.
Here's another aerial challenge. So is left on the ground. And Kilpatrick will now bring it back for a late foul call. Advantage never materialized, and he is holding his back in some pain.
It certainly has been a physical game, this 2/3 of the way in, and we've had head wounds, back wounds, players kicked, and a whole assortment of injuries. Let's have a look at this one here.
Let's go.
There's a knee coming in. Yeah, there's a knee left a little bit high there. You can see it coming up now, and was it premeditated? Hard to say, but no wonder So is feeling that.
Second time that Ezra Armstrong has committed a hard challenge like that since he subbed in at the half. So still doubled over in pain as the play now continues. He's trying to jog it off behind the plate. Archimed working on Wheat. Physical play from Archimed. He's checked right in and found the groove of the game already.
Yeah, they're wound up for this game, aren't they? I guess if you lose 6 in a row, and many of them by just the 1 goal, you come into this fuming, fed up, disappointed, frustrated, all those adjectives. And it's coming through in their game. They really are pushing as hard as they possibly can, which is why that 1 error in the first half, leaving a player like Jelani Peters unmarked in the box, that's undone all their hard efforts here today. But they still have, what is it, 27 odd minutes to see if they can get back on level terms.
Edelman has had a calming presence in the middle of the midfield. He was one of the players that Wolenek highlighted as making the most progress this season. Just the ability to spring the attack, be decisive on the ball, and just be comfortable for, again, one of the youngsters, 18 years old in the middle, Daniel Edelman. Not a flashy player, but we'll see him going side to side, end to end, just patrolling the middle of the park. LaCava lining it up. Griffin gets in the way of it. Inside, turning, and Goma across Archimed. Oh no! It was right there for the substitute to have his first of the season in his 3rd appearance.
Oh, he's got to score that goal. That is just so straightforward for him. I know he's just come on. He hasn't quite got into the pace of the game, but that was the moment. Lovely turn, absolutely brilliant turn there. Ball knocked across. Goalkeeper hasn't even come out enough to put you off. You've got to score that. Maybe the game, we can just say to him, only came on a few minutes ago. Just perhaps that's the only excuse, that he hasn't quite got his eye in, but what a miss. So now both ends of the park, poor marking for the goal they conceded, and then a goal on a plate and not taken.
And that goes back to what Bob Lilly talked to us about. This Red Bulls team, the opportunities are there. You can't take them lightly, because at some point, law of averages indicates those opportunities are going to end up in the net. This time, though, it goes Pittsburgh's way. Don't know how many more times they can afford to do that, though. Have to make sure they don't lose their mark at the back. It squirts through Rivera. Chips it in towards Cicerone. Diving header away. Omar So was looking for Archimed. They've tried to find him ever since he's come in. He finds the ball himself here on the poor back pass, but from the back, it's cleared away by Kilwine.
Well, chance for a breather here for the Riverhounds. That was such a close call with Archimed, and they'll know how lucky they are. They just need to calm it down now, get control of the game again, and try and get the 2nd goal and kill off Red Bulls. Obviously, if you're Red Bulls, you want to create another chance like that, but at the end of the day, you have to say that the Red Bulls don't deserve to be down. At least level, maybe even 1-0 up, but at the end of the day, football's about taking your chances and not giving them away, and that's what they've not been able to do, Red Bulls too.
The United Soccer League, all 31 championship clubs and its players stand together in support of diversity, inclusivity, equality, and compassion. For more info on the USL's commitment to change through the United Against Racism campaign, visit uslsoccer.com. Here's Bernardo Forbes. Again from the corner. Already 1 assist on a corner today. Driven ball in. It's open in the 6. Nobody there to tap it in. Out to Rivera. Secondary ball in. Latching towards it was Shane Wheat. Dixon. The form he's in, why not? But did not catch that one well.
Not his best. We've seen him stick it in the top corner from there quite a few times, but that one didn't quite work out. But good pressure from Riverhounds. Balls dropping in the box. They just couldn't find someone on the end of it, but that sort of pressure can result in the ball falling to a striker a few yards out. It didn't on this occasion, but good pressure from the home side.
Vitiello very calmly collects it at the top of the box despite the bodies flying around him. Forbes keeps it. He's looking for Cicerone. Taken back by Armstrong. Dixon tried a nice little flick onto Armstrong, but doesn't catch it well in the end. Ezra Armstrong, the son of Desmond Armstrong. First American-born black player to appear for the United States in a World Cup qualifier, and World Cup qualifiers begin tomorrow in the CONCACAF region. Plenty of USL Championship players playing for their respective nations. Here's Armstrong taking it himself all the way through to the end line. And barrels into Lewis at the end.
Just looking at the body language of New York Red Bulls too, and they were a little bit slow to close down there. They put a lot of effort in first half. We remarked how good their press was, but when you sprint around a lot like that, you can get tired second half, and they just seem to lost a little bit of zip. And maybe now is a good time to get some fresh legs in midfield for John Wolinek. Just their whole body language seems to have come down a notch. Maybe it was the missed opportunity by Archimed. Maybe it is just tired legs after game after game they've played, and travel as well. But some sort of fizz has gone out of their attack at the moment.
The schedule has been much more congested for Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh did have the extra day of rest. New York played on Sunday in temperatures nearly 100 degrees in Miami. So they only had the one day off Monday, the travel day yesterday, the game today. Archimed, LaCava, inside Ngoma, and Armstrong clears. The other game that was supposed to go on tonight in the Atlantic was Hartford and Miami, postponed due to the remnants of Hurricane Ida. Pittsburgh was hoping that game was played. I mentioned the World Cup qualifiers have taken some players away from their teams at the moment. Speedy Williams not there for Miami.
Yeah.
Vitiello will collect this one, and in such a tight race in the Atlantic, you know deep down inside Pittsburgh was rooting for that game to go on, because missing Speedy Williams a big loss for Miami, and now with that postponement don't have to deal with at least that game of Speedy Williams' absence for the time being. We await word on rescheduling for that one.
We reached the stage of the match where Pittsburgh 1-0 up at home. They don't have to force anything. They've got the 3 points in their hand at the moment. Question is, what can Red Bulls do?
Certainly can't get too complacent, though, after that warning shot from Archimed.
You're 100% right, and I'm sure Bob Liddy's screaming that at them is concentrate, concentrate. But they do defend well. Again, look at the number of black jerseys in their final third of the pitch. They get almost everybody behind the ball. They close it down. Here's the substitution we thought would happen. Jorgensen coming on, and he can score goals.
Serge Ngoma out, Matthias Jorgensen on. And that's not the only change happening. Sam Williams and Curtis Ofori, the other two teenagers that John Wolinek raved about, entering the match. Ofori just 15 years old.
Here is Red Bull substitutions. Number 60, Curtis Ofori, and number 41, J.C. Cortez. Number 25, Matthias Jorgensen, and for number 81, Serge Ngoma. And number 49, Sam Williams, and for number 51, Al Zaza.
Ziget's and Ngoma, Cortez the three to exit, with Jorgensen, Williams, and Ofori entering. We were talking about Ngoma, top of the broadcast, 16 years old, and we said he might not be the youngest one playing in this game. And sure enough, the 15-year-old Ofori subs in. Ofori hasn't seen a lot of time for the Red Bulls this season, but a promising start to his young career, very young career. 5 appearances for a total of 87 minutes the 15-year-old from Hopewell Junction, New York.
Very brave of the manager to throw on youngsters like this when you're 1-0 down away from home. Not easy to get back in the match, but for these youngsters it'll be a great experience for them. And Matthias Jorgensen, he's a really good striker up front, got pace, got strength. Actually has one cap for Denmark, the national team, which is very, very impressive, only age 20. So maybe he could be the man to turn that around for the Red Bulls.
Flicked into the middle by Cicerone. Griffin keeps it alive. Here's Dixon. Pulling it through. The volley from Dixon. Better than the last time. Still off frame. But you can't give him too many opportunities like that.
He's getting closer. Mind you, you have to. The one before was miles wide, but he's definitely getting closer, and he's good with both feet. He really is, but more better when he gets inside the box. That was a long way out. And he'll want to get inside the box, use his pace and dribbling skills, and then unleash one of his rockets.
And to your point about the bravery of Wolnick to get these youngsters into a game like this, the 15-year-old Ofori, born in 2005, Donato Forbes began his pro career in 2006. Shouts of handball from Cicerone. Here is Forbes looking for Armstrong at the end line. Armstrong trying to keep it in. He can't. Just over the line.
Another important point for New York Red Bulls is when you make a number of changes, especially when you bring on youngsters, you have to keep your shape and organization. And youngsters tend to come in all starry-eyed and excited and forget that they need to pick up at set pieces. And so it's important for the other players around them, that the veteran, the 20-year-old veterans, to advise the 16-year-old young kids.
Here's Forbes. And that's not 20-year veterans. That is 20-year-old veterans.
Exactly.
Back out to Forbes. He keeps it in. Quarter hour remains. I don't want that one back. With Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Thanks for joining us tonight on ESPN+. Fourth and final meeting of the season between Pittsburgh and New York. Riverhounds looking to complete the season sweep of the Red Bulls, and they're 15 minutes away from doing that. Edelman. Inside, finds So. Jorgensen trying to reconnect with So. Wheat clears off a teammate Wharton. Second clearance attempt gets it further away.
Well, they're a good defensive unit, Pittsburgh. It'd be very hard to break down. Two banks of four, only a couple of yards apart, both attackers dropping back. Teams find it very difficult to score against them, and this is why. They're going to close you down and deny you space in that final third. So it's up to New York Red Bulls. They've got some little tricky skills, a nice quick 1-2 on the edge of the box. Something just to unlock this Riverhounds defense.
Looks like Anthony Velarde and Jordan Dover are getting ready to check in. Some final words from Bob Lilly. And it's the return of Jordan Dover, who's been out for a few weeks now. Riverhounds fans, mini flex plans are 6 undated vouchers to use any way you want over the 2021 season to catch the Hounds in action. Use them all for one game or spread them out over the season. On sale now. Plans start at $90. Call the box office at 412-865-GOAL.
A long ball from Castillo there. At least it forced Wheat to just knock it out for a throw-in, which puts New York Red Bulls in that final third.
Danny Rivera will give way for Dover. And Corrado Forbes gets a much-deserved rest with Velarde checking in.
Yeah, 33, you got to protect those legs. That's exactly what they're doing. I'm sure Cicerone and Dixon are saying, what about us? We've also played nearly every game. We need a break as well.
Hey, they're younger. He gets the seniority here. 33-year-old Forbes tells the 31-year-old Dixon, you wait your turn for a rest, young man. Give and go here. And Peters cleans it up. Griffin. Pressure from behind by Archimed. And that ball belongs to the River. The USL is committed to supporting the LGBTQ+ community through the Forever Proud project. The USL will strive to create safe and welcoming environments for all fans, players, employees, and partners. Learn more at uslsoccer.com/forever-proud.
Youngster Curtis Ofori not able to keep the ball in there. But it is a concern for everyone at New York Red Bulls that this could be the seventh loss in a row. And on one hand, you think they don't deserve it because they've played so well, but crucial moments defending, one error, an attack, a great opportunity spurned, and that's what's seen them so far anyway on the losing side, and that's tough. 7 in a row is tough for any young kid to take.
Heavy touch from So. Peters skies it. We await its return after its brief orbit around the earth, and here we go, Velarde. Armstrong looking for Dixon. Well-weighted ball, but Lewis is there. Read it the whole way, off his line. Shouts of shoot for Velarde. But the more pragmatic option playing at the Cicerone.
All the way, Maki help! Luther help! Luther! In the air!
Good touch from Dover. Inside to Dixon, was looking for Wharton. Dover wins it back. So dropping deeper now after the changes were made. Ball over the top to Jorgensen. Clear handball there.
He just looks more of a threat up front, doesn't he, Matthias Jorgensen? Big and strong, good target man. To be fair, he's coming on with fresh legs versus a tired defense. But you just wonder whether he could have come on a little bit earlier to help the cause. Because him and So up front really work well together. I'm actually trying to think if Luca Lewis has had a save to make.
It's a good question.
I don't think he has. And he had no chance with the goal either.
I believe you're correct, Gary. I think it's still just a one shot on target. Yeah, just one shot on target, the goal for Pittsburgh. No save made.
Yep, no save made, whereas Danny Vitiello's had a save and a couple of punches and things flashing across his box. So, again, we've said it a few times, and it's not that New York Red Bulls aren't creating the opportunities, they're just not finishing them off, and I think Archimed's one is the perfect proof of that.
And that's why Bob Lilly did not want to take this game lightly. John Wolenek echoed the same sentiments in the chat we had with him. It's a team that's not far off. You go through the losses they've had as the foul is drawn here. You go through the losses they've had, a lot of one-goal games, a lot of games where you go back and you watch the tape and you say, maybe they deserved a point. Maybe they deserve 3 points even, but it's just the lack of the clinical finish, the lack of experience showing at times in games.
Well, just have a look at some of their recent ones. Other than the Miami game, they lost to Charleston 2-3 by 1 goal. They lost to Charlotte Independence 2-3. They lost to Tampa Bay Rowdies 1-2, which is no disgrace. I mean, those are all incredibly close games. They drew at Hartford 2-2. And they beat Charlotte away 3-2. So they're very capable of winning games. But in every one of those, they've conceded. And I think the clean sheet is the one thing they're missing at the moment.
Jake LaCava will exit. Nicholas Rabiu will enter.
Here's referee substitution number 46, Nico Rabiu, and number 64, Jake LaCava.
And that's why it's tough for them to be on a 7-match losing streak, because the games they have lost have only been by a goal, most of them. When you go back before that 7-match losing streak, they had a couple of really good wins and a good away draw, and been some impressive performances. They don't deserve it, but that's the lesson, is that soccer's a harsh game, and if you're going to give away goals and good chances, you're going to get punished.
Defended by Castillo, out for a corner. For the W, starting next spring, the USLW League, providing increased equity and opportunity for women looking to pursue careers in soccer, both on and off the pitch, comprised of clubs from across Championship, League One, League Two, and expansion markets. W League begins play in more than 30 communities across the U.S. Head over to uslwleague.com to learn more. No Canaro Forbes. The corner will be handled by Velarde. Can Pittsburgh find some insurance here to breathe a little easier? Velarde will do it again. 10-0-1. Pittsburgh when leading in the final 10 minutes. Velarde, another driven ball in towards that near post. Similar result, but this time the ball stays in play. Long ball to Archimed. Have to be careful on the counter. Archimed cuts in, Dixon defending. Across, in here to Rabiu. And Wheat clears. Play on, says Kilpatrick. Edelman picks out Williams. Now it's over for Raffanello. A name we haven't called much tonight for the involvement he's had this season with 4 goals and 5 assists.
That's a very good point. We showed what a good striker of a ball he is, some wonderful goals he's scored. And currently, with 4 goals, he's the top scorer for Red Bulls on the pitch at the moment. But definitely it's in defense. While we were talking, I just checked. In the 20 games they've played this season, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they have a clean sheet, Red Bulls. If you can't keep clean sheets, you're going to struggle to win games. You know, forever, you're always looking at your strikers. They have to score because they're 1-0 down or 2-0 down, or in some cases, in many cases, 3-0 down. That's too much of a pressure to put on your strikers. You've got to have defenders who can keep clean sheets.
That is correct. They do not have a clean sheet this season, the Red Bulls, so that has been a struggle. 44 goals conceded coming into the night, make it 45. Second to last in the league in that category.
And maybe they can take some lessons from the Riverhounds and what Bob Lilly, the way he sets his team up, because they get behind the ball, they defend in numbers, and I know that Red Bulls are a wonderful franchise who love to play attacking football, and they have an MLS philosophy that comes down to the USL team, so maybe they're told to play a certain way, but you still got to learn to be able to defend, to get back in numbers, to pick up tightly and set pieces and give nothing away, and from that you can then go and score a winner.
And John Wolenek mentioned it's been tough as physical challenge was put in on Castillo. Wolenek mentioned it's been tough just with the squad turnover, some of the MLS players that have been in and out, some of the injuries that have been dealt with among the USL signed players early in the season. A lot of the academy players they had, they're not there anymore because they've since gone off to college. So it's been very fluid, but the couple of non-negotiables that he's mentioned, high press, high energy, and starting to kind of find your footing as a professional and learning the job.
I don't think you can blame Dover for this. Castillo jumps up and over. I don't think there's anything to blame on either side, just a good commitment from both players, and that's the way the referee sees it.
Castillo over the top towards Archimed, flicks it on. Vitiello. Gary, you and I have done a number of Pittsburgh games this year. If there's one thing to say about Vitiello for his track record with saves and with his goals against average, the reigning Golden Glove winner, and you've pointed it out a number of times, he's off his line a lot, and he leaves himself susceptible to those awkward in-betweens. A little bit more on that flick header by Archimed, and Pittsburgh was in trouble.
He was in no man's land there, Vitiello, and he's lucky, as you say, the header wasn't stronger. In the last match against Hartford, the equalizer from Obregon was a header at the far post, which Vitiello came for and didn't get. It's the one weakness in his game. He's fantastically brave, he's a good shot stopper, but coming off his line now, a couple of decisions he's made in recent games, and he didn't get away with it last week. Obregon heading past for the equalizer for Hartford. And a lot of people looking back at the goalkeeper saying, well, that really was your ball to either catch or punch.
I think back to that Tampa Bay 0-0 draw a couple of weeks ago here at Highmark Stadium that you and I were a part of. And the best chance of the night for Tampa Bay was from Dos Santos on a ball that was at the top corner of the box. Vitiello charged all the way out for it, and all it took was an easy header over Vitiello from Dos Santos after Vitiello misjudged it. And thankfully for Pittsburgh, I believe it was Shane Wheat was there to save it off the line. Otherwise, that was it.
And yet, having said that, he's been in some games where he's made save after save after save. He really is a wonderful reflex keeper, and if he could just tighten up on the crosses, he could very well be keeper of the season.
Crowd sensing how late this one is. Every call meaning that much more. 2 minutes to go of the 90. In a game that they felt maybe by now would be well in hand. Still just 1-0 with a couple minutes to go. And a heavy collision on the sideline.
Referee very quick to step in there and calm everything down again. Adam Kilpatrick.
Happened directly below us, out of our view. I think they might have collided with the metal bleachers. We'll take another look at it. Archimed came in on Peters. Here's the challenge. Did they carry all the way through to the bleachers? No, just they fell on top of each other.
You know what happened there? I think there was a clash of ankles as they both went down. Both their ankles got intertwined, and it's the Red Bulls man who's come off worse. I don't think there was anything nasty about it. It wasn't even a tackle. It was just two players landing awkwardly.
Luis Perez has the pinion. Maybe a late addition here for Pittsburgh as well.
Well, the Hounds have won the last 5 straight against Red Bulls too. And looks like they're going to make it 6 in a row unless something happens in the final few minutes. Seems the yellow card is out there by the referee.
For Archimed, yeah. Alex Dixon will get a brief rest. He will exit as Perez will enter. Archimed will remain off to the side, ordering the attention of the trainer as Vitiello puts it back into play. That sub didn't happen yet. Thought it might have happened there during the stoppage, but they held off Pittsburgh for the moment. And here it comes now. It'll be Alex Dixon off, Luis Perez in. We've reached the 90-minute mark. We have to wait until the fourth official takes down the substitution numbers to put up the stoppage time number.
This is where Riverhounds are so good. These last 10 minutes of the game. What was your stat there? 11-1 or something when they've been ahead going into the final 10 minutes?
There is 3 minutes of added time confirmed. It is 11-0-1 in the last 5 minutes when they have a lead. 10-0-1 in the last 10 minutes.
This is it. They close it down. They give you nothing. They can see out the game. They're professional. Try and keep themselves out of trouble. See how they're hustling, pushing New York Red Bulls back.
Here giveaway. Perez was there. Play on, says Kilpatrick. Advantage for Red Bulls. Those are the momentary mental lapses that sometimes plague New York. They get away with that one. Cross for Raffanello. Heavy first touch. Armstrong clears it away.
Raffanello going down, saying that he got kicked. And the referee quite rightly saying to Luis Perez, leave him alone. It's not your job to pick him up or touch him or question anything. Here's Archimed. It's been a tough return after injury in international duty. He missed an absolute sitter of a chance, and now he's got himself injured as well. I'm sure he would have been hoping for a slightly more celebratory return.
If this holds, Pittsburgh would end the day in first place in the Atlantic. You ask any coach, they're always going to opt for the points rather than the matches in hand. So they would have 3 points over Tampa Bay, although the Rowdies would have the 3 matches in hand.
it's a tough match next away at San Antonio, and as I say, he might rest a few players and just take a slightly different squad and say, you know, if we can get some points, great. If we don't, we don't. But who knows with Bob Lilly? He's got his own way of seeing it and often surprises us with his team, and generally he gets it right.
There was Vitiello again coming up towards the top of the box as that ball was cleared away. Just harkening back to that point, just sometimes you question some of the moves he makes. Not to linger on that, but when I am next to a player who played almost 300 games for Manchester United in goal, it's the point to bring up.
Yeah, it's two different things. Coming out to sweep on the edge of your box is one skill, which he sometimes gets wrong, but I think all keepers do it. The one that concerns me more is the goal last week when you come out to punch the ball and you get beaten in the air for a header. That you can't afford to do. You have to win the ball. Flick it on, punch it, and generally he has done. But every once in a while he misjudges it, and that's the only question mark. But other than that, does he make some fantastic reflex saves, and he's one of the reasons why they're sitting currently top of the table.
And this is a big 3 points for Pittsburgh, barring any last-second change here. They would end the night 16 points clear of the playoff line. So a playoff spot surely in hand now for Bob Lilly's squad, and they end the night in first place in the Atlantic Division as the final whistle blows at Highmark Stadium. The season sweep of the Red Bulls is complete by the Riverhounds. Jelani Peters, his lone goal on a header off of a Canardo Forbes corner kick, gives them all 3 points.
Yeah, fantastic win for Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Well fought, but you've got to feel so sorry for New York Red Bulls. An error in defense to concede the goal. Great chance for Archimed, spurned from 3 yards out. They were committed, this younger team. They got a lot of injuries. They fought for absolutely everything, and yet they've come away empty-handed. It's a lesson for young players that being a football professional is really tough, but especially so when you don't pick up markers like Jelani Peters at a corner.
Pittsburgh will celebrate on the field. We'll take a quick break and be back to wrap it up from Highmark Stadium in a moment. Riverhounds 1, Red Bulls 0. 3 points for Pittsburgh, your top-of-the-table team in the Atlantic Division.
Summer's over, but the Riverhounds look to stay hot at Highmark Stadium. Loudoun United comes to town on Saturday, September 11th for a 7 p.m. showdown on the banks of the Mon. It's Heroes Night with special presentations by the United States military and local first responders. Come early and check out our new tailgate zone that's open 2 hours before kickoff through halftime. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, nestled in the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania, is now open to the public. Enjoy 18 holes of championship golf with a new island green and fully stocked pro shop. Our clubhouse features a large ballroom for weddings or private parties, 2 restaurants serving delicious food, a sports bar, 2 state-of-the-art golf simulators, and an outdoor patio with gas fire pit and picturesque view. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, now open to the public.
Dixon still going and scoring!
With the Riverhounds Mini Flex Plan, you get 6 tickets and only pay for 5. Flex Plans are 6 vouchers to use any way you want over the 2021 season. Use them all for one game or spread them out through the season. With 3 different plans starting at $90, you can choose anywhere in Highmark Stadium to cheer on the Hounds. Visit riverhounds.com/flexbooks or call 412-865-GOAL.
Back here at Highmark Stadium on September 11th, the Riverhounds ask you to join them for Heroes Night as they honor those who have committed their lives and careers to these efforts as the Hounds take on Loudoun United FC at Highmark Stadium. There will be a U.S. Air Force swear-in ceremony at halftime. The U.S. Army will honor Colonel Christopher T. Griffith for his distinguished career, and our local Coast Guard station will join us at the game's color guard along with Pittsburgh EMS. Gary Bailey, we take a look at the full-time highlights here from Pittsburgh's 1-0 win over New York Red Bulls.
It's tough watching for New York Red Bulls fans. This here, unmarked at the corner. Jelani Peters gets a free header, and he sticks it in the back of the net, gives Luca Lewis absolutely no chance. And up until then, Red Bulls 2 would look really good. Some nice passing going on, but the crucial moment, unmarked is the big man, 6'3", goes, thank you very much. I'll just dispatch that into the corner.
And Canardo Forbes, his career 45th assist in USL Championship, the all-time leader in that category. Red Bulls had some chances in the second half as they put things together.
They did. This is Sergeant Goma here. Puts it on a plate for Archimed, who misses the target completely. Maybe he saw Danny Vitiello, the goalkeeper, did spread himself nice and big, but still, you have got to tuck that away. What a miss.
And they kept pressing to the end. You got to give them credit, but the goal never did come.
Yeah, long ball here. Archimed doing well just to flick it on Vitiello, just managing to catch that. As you said, if Archimed gets anything more on that, the goalkeeper's in no man's land, and it goes in the back of the net. But in the end of the day, it's the experience of the home side. Look, just one shot on target for Riverhounds. Wasn't the most impressive of performances, but they took their chance. They defended well. Red Bulls just couldn't find that little bit of something to get past the stubborn defense, and Red Bulls leave with nothing.
John Wolonek mentioned that Bob Lilly's squad is efficient, and efficient they were. They had the one chance. It's all they needed to get the 3 points tonight and complete the season sweep of the New York Red Bulls. They now sit top of the table in the Atlantic Division. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds 3 points ahead of Tampa Bay, though the Rowdies have 3 games in hand. For my broadcast partner, Gary Bailey, and the rest of the crew that makes this broadcast possible, I am Joe Malfa saying good night from Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Welcome to September in USL Championship, a 1-0 win for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.